Most people think that to hit six figures in savings, you either need to be a tech genius in Silicon Valley or inherit a loan from your parents. But here's the cold, hard truth. The first $100,000 is the hardest money you will ever make. Charlie Munger, the late billionaire investor, famously said you just have to get your hands on that first $100,000, even if it means walking everywhere and not eating anything that wasn't purchased with a coupon. Why? Because $100,000 is the escape velocity point. It's where your money starts doing more work than you do. If you're starting at zero today, or even in debt, and you feel like an average income is a cage keeping you from wealth, this video is your blueprint. We aren't talking about get-rich-quick crypto schemes or selling your soul to a 100-hour work week. We are talking about a mathematical, psychological, and strategic system to hit that 100,000 milestone faster than you ever thought possible. In the next few minutes, I'm going to break down the 4 distinct phases of the 0 to 100,000 journey. Stick around until the end, because I'm going to show you the wealth gap calculation that most people ignore, which is the literal difference between retiring at 65 or retiring at 45. You can't build a skyscraper on a swamp. Phase 1 is about drainage and foundation. When you have $0, your biggest enemy isn't the stock market, it's instability. Most people on an average income fail here because they try to invest before they've secured their survival. If you put $500 into a volatile stock, but then your car breaks down and you have to sell that stock at a loss. To pay the mechanic, you haven't invested, you've just gambled with your peace of mind. Here is the strategy: the inconvenience fund. Forget the 6-month emergency fund for a second. That feels too far away when you're at zero. Your first goal is $2,000. This is your Life Happens fund. Once you have this, you stop using credit cards for emergencies. You break the cycle of high-interest debt, which is the literal wealth killer. Did you know that carrying a $5,000 balance on a credit card at 20% interest costs you $1,000 a year just to exist? That's $1,000 that could be working for you. Getting to $10,000 is 90% about defense. It's about auditing every subscription, every convenience purchase, and realizing that your average income is actually plenty. It's just leaking out of a dozen small holes. Now that you have $10,000, you feel a little safer. But safety doesn't make you rich. To get to $40,000, we need to talk about the gap. Wealth isn't what you make, it's what you keep. On an average income, you have 2 levers: lower your expenses, the ceiling; raise your income, the floor. Most financial gurus tell you to stop buying lattes. I'm telling you to ignore the lattes and focus on the big 3: housing, transportation, and food. If you can optimize these, you can save 30% of your income without ever feeling deprived. The strategy, the career pivot. If you're on an average income, the fastest way to $100,000 isn't a side hustle. It's a primary hustle optimization. The world pays for skills, not time. Spend $500 of that first $10,000 on a certification, a high-level seminar, or a coach. Increasing your salary by just $10,000 a year and boringly saving that entire raise is the fastest way to bridge the gap from $10,000 to $40,000. At $40,000, you start to see the magic of the first penny. This is where your interest starts to actually buy you things. At a 7% return, $40,000 is making you $2,800 a year while you sleep. That's a free vacation, or a month's worth of bills paid for by your money. Stay with me till the end, because the conclusion is where the magic happens. This is the boring middle. And this is where 70% of people quit. Why? Because you've been working hard for a year or two, you have a decent chunk of change, and suddenly that $40,000 looks like a very nice down payment on a brand new SUV. Do not do it. This phase is about asset allocation. You aren't just saving anymore. You are a portfolio manager. On an average income, you cannot afford to lose 50% of your money on a moonshot crypto coin. You need the smartest strategy, which is low-cost index funds. The math. If you invest in the S&P 500, you are owning the 500 largest companies in the US. You are betting on human ingenuity. Historically, this returns about 10% annually. At $50,000, a 10% jump is $5,000. That's $416 a month in passive income. In Phase 3, you must automate. Decision fatigue is real. If you have to choose to invest every month, eventually you'll choose a fancy dinner or a new pair of shoes instead. Set up an automatic transfer on the day your paycheck hits. If you never see the money, you never miss it. You're almost there. The final $20,000 feels different. This is where compound interest starts to take over the heavy lifting. When you have $80,000 and the market has a good year, say 12%, your account grows by nearly $10,000 without you doing a single thing. That is the power of the snowball effect. At this stage, your strategy shifts to tax optimization. Are you using a Roth IRA, a 401k match, an HSA? Using tax-advantaged accounts is like getting a 15 to 25% immediate return on your money just by being smart about where you park it. The psychological barrier of $100,000 is huge. Once you hit it, you stop thinking like a saver and you start thinking like an investor. You realize that if you can do $100,000, you can do $1 million. The math is exactly the same. It just takes more time. Building $100,000 on an average income isn't a feat of strength. It's a feat of stamina. It's about saying no to the things that don't matter so you can say yes to the freedom that does. Remember, the first $100,000 is a grind. The second $100,000 is a walk in the park. And the third? That's just inevitable. If you're ready to start your journey from zero, I've put together a wealth tracker spreadsheet in the description below to help you visualize your gap and track your phases. Wait! Before you go, what is the one luxury you're willing to give up this month to kickstart your inconvenience fund? Let me know in the comments. I'm replying to the first 50 people to help you audit your budget. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you want more.